Hello, everyone. How are you? How are you? I am excited to be here. Let me adjust the camera, sorry. With all of you on Facebook, on Instagram. Welcome. I am Amy of aimeeraupp.com, and I am the author of all those books up there behind me. And I have been helping women mainly, but I also help couples and I also help men optimize their health and their fertility, and help them get pregnant faster, help them get and stay pregnant. And I've been in clinical practice now for 17 years. I've written 2 best-selling books in the space of fertility, Yes, You Can Get Pregnant, and most recently, The Egg Quality Diet. I've also written 2 other books, Chill Out and Get Healthy and Body Belief. And this is one of my favorite times of the month. So every week on Thursdays, I get to come live and share something educational with all of you. One Thursday out of every month, I come live and I do a story of hope. So this one, I went into the archives a little bit on this one because I had another one planned as a more recent story of hope, but left the chart notes in my New York City clinic, and so I didn't feel prepared enough. I like to give you guys the juicy, meaty information, so I know so many of you identify with the women in these stories, and it gives you hope. So this one is from a case that I worked with, I guess not that long ago, in early 2020, and she now has a healthy little bambino at home. And what I always do is I'll kind of run through the timeline, my initial consult, the notes, the follow-up recommendations, and then I like to go into the archive, if you will, and share stories from the emails too. So December 29th, 2020, so just a little over a year and change ago, she was 18 weeks pregnant. So it's not that far into the archives. But anyway, I have my list from 2021, which continues, had grown. The last 3 weeks of the year, we had 5 pregnancies roll in. And most of it's digital now, but some of my clients in 2019 and early 2020, I was actually still taking handwritten notes because that's the way I used to do it back in the day. So this woman, she started working with me. Let me just go back here. Her first coaching session with me was so she joined my e-course September 25th, 2019. And then her first coaching session with me was February 2020. Okay, so my Yes You Can Get Pregnant e-course, just so you all know, is my online program. It's like over 12 or 15 hours of content, and I teach it. I taught it live actually this year, and then I just came from there. Every week, no matter how long it takes you to get pregnant, you never get kicked out of the group. Every week I host what we call a live Q&A / office hours, where I just go in and I answer questions and I support my community. And there's hundreds of women in there at this point, and they all really learn to support each other as well. So this woman joined the e-course in 2019. She came to me, she was 39 years old. She had just had her 6th failed IVF cycle. She had done 6 IVFs since beginning in November of 2017. So she started this process when she was 36. She started my Yes You Can Get Pregnant diet. So mind you, the Egg Quality Diet just came out this past summer, so it wasn't out. She'd been doing my Yes You Can Get Pregnant diet since November. So she joined the e-course in September, started doing the diet laid out in my Yes You Can Get Pregnant book in November. She cut out alcohol, gluten, soy. She was having some dairy. She decreased caffeine. And her numbers, I know you guys care about numbers. I don't care so much about numbers. Her FSH was good at an 8, and her AMH was about a 1.5. It was varying, but was healthy for her age, for certain. And she as far as her major symptoms that she was dealing with besides not getting pregnant, she had polyps. She had some natural killer cells that were determined. She had acne, mild rosacea, depression, fatigue. Um, and so I'll go through with you what my follow-up email to her was. But let me just see. I want to just see where my follow-up emails. But basically, I was, when I met with her, what I noticed was some autoimmunity. I had asked too, had she gotten thyroid antibodies checked? At that point, she had not. And so I strongly encouraged that she do that. And also in my head, I was kind of already building the egg quality diet, which is more of an elimination diet for people that I suspect have autoimmunity or a lot of inflammation that are impacting their fertility. And so she was following the Yes You Can Get Pregnant diet, which isn't as focused on autoimmunity. So what I did was I encouraged her to start to follow the body belief diet, which that was the book that came out that I've written about autoimmunity. Just see, oh my God. Now, this is fun. Let's see. Instagram, did you lose me? Am I still here? Can you hear me? Sometimes when a phone call comes through, the volume goes out. Let's see. Can everybody hear me? Can someone comment? Can someone comment whether or not you can hear me? I'm going to wait until someone comments that they can hear me. And then I see hearts, so I'm assuming you guys can hear me, right? Okay. I'm going to go there from that then. Can't hear. Okay. Andy says you can't hear. Team Amy, could you guys no sound? Okay. Can't hear you. Great. Let me try this. How about now? Anybody else? Can you hear me now? Or no? Nada? Anyone? Anyone? I'm going to wait one more second. Can anyone hear me? All right. I'm going to hang up then and come back in. Since no one's commenting. Lost audio, nothing. Okay. Nothing. Okay. Oh. Okay. Give me 1 second, Facebook. I'm sorry. My do not disturb. I don't know what it is. My freaking phone and this do not disturb. Does anyone else have this issue? My do not disturb is on and a phone call just came through. I don't understand it. Okay. So we're going to go live again here on Instagram, and we really hadn't gotten into the story anyway. Okay. So, Instagram, we're back. Facebook, we're continuing. I lost you guys because my do not disturb button doesn't work on the phone, and a phone call came through, and then somehow it knocks off my volume on the Instagram. So, anyway, we are doing a story of hope. That's how I'm going to leave it. 39 years old. 6 failed IVFs, came to me in February of 2020 was her first coaching call with me. She joined my Yes You Can Get Pregnant e-course in September of 2019. And so, as I was saying, she showed me signs of inflammation and autoimmunity in her diet. So she was following the Yes You Can Get Pregnant diet from about November, and now I'm meeting her in February, so for 3 months. So I had her get strict her, basically. I'm going to have her get a little more strict. And then I also asked, can she please get her thyroid antibodies checked? So here's between IUIs and IVFs, by the way, 10 cycles between February and 2017. So this is her little story to me. I had undergone 6 IVF cycles beginning in 2017. My last one was just in 2020, February. We were right. She was affected by a failure at one of the fertility clinics, and she lost 3 embryos, by the way, which is a horrible story and one that I had never really heard of before. After that, she had failed frozen embryo transfers, and she responded well to the meds, usually produced a good amount of eggs. Her AMH and FSH, her thyroid panels all looked good, but she still wasn't getting pregnant. So she's trying to determine if we're just on the bad side of statistics and need to keep trying if I have some sort of autoimmune issue or imbalance of hormones that's preventing successful implantation. That's how she found me. I've been following the Yes You Can Get Pregnant diet since November, and taking raw prenatal liver pills, CoQ10, and then she was trying to scale back at work. She does light to moderate exercise. She meditates. She does yoga. She gets acupuncture. And like I said, she's in my e-course, so she has access to me every single week in the weekly Q&As in the e-course. She purchased a Dutch test. She had a hysteroscopy. She had polyps. She was having normal cycles, but then they started acting wonky from the IVF. She had a 38-day cycle. So she does have, like I was saying before, I lost Instagram, acne, mild rosacea, which to me, those are flags of like a lot of inflammation, depression, fatigue, significant fatigue, though, not just like, oh, I'm kind of tired when I wake up in the morning. Significant fatigue, frequently, often have to nap to get through the day. I usually attribute this to the depression. She's also developed contact dermatitis, and was recommended to use a steroid cream. She had done an Everly Well food sensitivity test, which I tend to think are not really useful. I think an elimination diet like the egg quality diet or body belief is the way to go. And so she's in the process of switching over her diet to following more of my autoimmune diet, which is now what we would call the egg quality diet. Wasn't out yet. Her blood looked good. Like I said, her TSH, her AMH was nice. Her FSH looked healthy. So those are all her things. When we started talking, she had just had a retrieval. She got 6 follicles, 4 were mature, 3 fertilized, and she was waiting for them to be biopsied for PGS. Her skin, she said, I have a general redness to my skin. And she has breakouts on a regular basis. Her diet at the time that I'm talking to her, avocado, eggs, mayonnaise, fertility smoothie, fish, vegetables, bone broth, protein veg for dinner. Her bowel movement's healthy every day, but she gets gassy after beans and gluten, and very bloated after gluten and dairy. And let's see, her sleep is good. Her body temperature, she's always cold hands and feet. That always is a sign to me of not enough blood. We don't have estrogen in Chinese medicine. Blood is kind of what nourishes and makes those follicles and those eggs juicy and healthy. And so when I see a patient that runs cold, and especially cold hands and feet, I automatically think they need more nourishment. They're not eating enough blood building foods like good quality protein, like good quality veggies. Her period, she gets pretty bad cramps one day before. To me, that's also not a great sign. That's typically cold in the uterus. I'm generalizing here, cold in the uterus, some stagnation. She's super tired the day before bleeding. That to me, that is always a sign of blood deficiency. She has breakouts. She has mood swings. Cycle day 1 and 2, solid flow, decent color red. I always ask the color of the blood. No clots, but some mucus, which to me shows a little phlegm, dampness, stagnation. She just started acupuncture when I met her, and then her period, cycle days 3 to 5, tapers off. Ovulation, she's not seeing any signs of cervical mucus. She has no allergies, no sinus stuff, no major colds. Her hair can be dry. Her nails peel and crack. Like I said, she has depression. She's been doing therapy. She feels very stable at the moment between meditation, acupuncture, and therapy. She has a strong spiritual practice. She started trying to conceive at the age of 37 for 6 months. And then she was pushed onto fertility doctors because she wasn't yet pregnant. And then she went on to have 6 failed IVFs, but a total of about 10 fertility treatments, including some IUIs. She was exercising 5 times a week. She was doing her last round of stims. So we were just waiting. I was waiting to see, did we get any normals, any PGS normals. Her last round of stims, they used a pretty high dose of follow stim, which I was saying to her that if we don't get good quality, we want to go to a lower dose, because sometimes the meds too high can compromise the quality. You guys should all know that. Even if you have good AMH and good FSH, but you're having quality issues, you should look at the medications as well. And if your doctor isn't willing to go lower on the meds, then you should find a different doctor, in my very humble yet experienced clinical opinion. And like I said, her supplements, she was on the vitamin code raw prenatal. She was taking liver, spirulina, CoQ10, and then cod liver oil. And her goal was to get 4 PGS normal embryos. So this is all February 2020. So my recommendations to her, I sent her some information on EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, tapping it's also called, to help more with the depression and some of the emotional blocks. I sent her information because at this point I'm working on the egg quality diet. I sent her information on her macros for her fertility, because I wanted her to get like the 50% fat, 30% protein, 20% carbohydrates, but good quality carbohydrates. I gave her my fertility purify eating plan, which was, in essence, is now my egg quality diet. So mind you, the egg quality diet just came out in June, but I've been literally using it in practice since about 2018. So I had a whole PDF that I would give out to patients. So I give her that. I asked her to do a food diary for me. I gave her some guided meditations. I talked to her about Spirit Babies, the book Spirit Babies, which I think is super useful. So this is what, whenever anybody works with me, there's always this very detailed follow-up. I went over her supplements, and yeah. So then we spoke again. So this was her second session with me, and so at this point we do food diaries back and forth. She shifts her food diary. She starts matching the macros. She's really going into the elimination diet, more of like the egg quality diet / autoimmune paleo style diet. And that retrieval that she had just done in February, she got, I just want to go over it again here because I have it here. So 3 fertilized, and she was waiting for them to be biopsied. None of them came back as PGS normals. So she was devastated. And so we did not head into a transfer. So then this is February. So then 2 months later, March, April, no, May, 3 months later, she does another retrieval. Sorry, she does another retrieval in April. So now at this point, she's been basically following some version of my diet since November, December, January, February, March, April, 6 months. And she got 5 embryos to send off for testing. All 5 came back normal. So she's now 6 months older than she was in the last retrieval, or sorry, 4 months older than she was in the last retrieval. She's now 39 and a half. She wasn't getting normals before. She just started testing. So previous, she wasn't testing in any of those FETs that she did between 36 and 39. Then she started testing at 39. And no normals, and the February one. And then in April, she gets 5 embryos. All 5 are normal. We were full on in the heart of COVID at this point too. I recommended to do an ERA and an endometrial biopsy before she transfers. She decided to move clinics because they weren't willing. That was the other thing. They changed her meds, because I had said to her in the February one, I said, if none of these embryos come back normal, that 450 follow stem's way too high. Even though your AMH is great, your FSH is great, way too high. So she switches clinics. They decide to do, they still did like a 150 and 300 follow stem lower dose. Like I said, now she gets 5 embryos. All 5 are normal. She's also now been on the diet 6 months. And mind you, also, she's about to turn 40, 39 and a half. She loves her new clinic. She says the doctor even hugged her. He was really supportive. And so she does a transfer in August. And we talk on October 7th, 2020. She's pregnant. 6 weeks, 5 days. First time she's ever been pregnant now. Mind you, this is now assisted reproductive technique number 12, her 8th IVF, and she's now 3.5 years older than when she started the process, and for the first time, she's pregnant. Her skin has improved. She switched to my skincare. She's been basically doing the diet for the most part. She added in some foods. We kind of went back and forth on a food diary. We just reintroduced the way I have. So the elimination diet in the egg quality diet, which I always like to point out to everybody, is not a forever thing. You're meant to eliminate. You're meant to stay in phase 3 for a while your gut heals, while inflammation reduces, while absorption improves. All the while improving egg quality, balancing hormones, and then you're meant to reintroduce. So some women, they can have gluten. Some women, she can have a little bit of dairy and doesn't have a flare up. That's amazing. Organic, grass-fed, full-fat dairy is my preference, right? She's learned what grains work for her. She's learned that beans and some nuts do not work for her. Nightshades do not work for her, right? So and then so this is what she says. To get 5 PGS normals at 40, so sorry, she turned 40 between retrieval in February and then retrieval in April, so that's my bad. To get 5 PGS normals at the age of 40 on my 8th retrieval is mind-blowing. It's the best she's ever done, and when she started at the age of 37. So at this point, like I said, she's 6 weeks pregnant and psyched. And so now she just has some basic food questions, which is another thing too, that like once my girls get pregnant, we are there to support them through their pregnancy. So she wanted to know, can I have, a little more chicken? Can I cheat a little bit more? Can I have these collagen peptides? Can I have some caffeine? Can I do acupuncture, right? All sorts of questions. We also got into toddler foods, pregnancy foods, which I thought was kind of funny because she was only 6 weeks pregnant, but I also told her to stop the CoQ10, remain on the fish oil, remain on the vitamin D, remain on the liver, remain on the prenatal. So we had that conversation. This is October. Then I hear from her again in December. Hope you had a lovely holiday. I'm currently 18 weeks pregnant. I'm just so happy. I finally rounded the corner on nausea and fatigue, so I'm getting my energy back. And then she never wound up using her Dutch test, so we refunded her on that. And let's see. Then she sends me another email in January, back and forth. And let's see. I want to. So then we, August 19th, 2021, she's happy to do a testimonial, probably with some questions, that kind of thing. And she sends me a picture of baby Isabella, who is now 4 months old. And now, mind you, she also still has 4 PGS normal embryos on ice from that retrieval in April. I'm happy that this inspired some hope for all of you guys. And then baby Isabella now at this point is about 8 months old, which is an amazing story. And so there we go. I'm trying to see if I have any other emails from her now. So, not super straightforward. Obviously, she'd been on the path for quite some time, which is devastating and way too long. 8 retrievals is shitty, but to be 40 when you started the process at 37 and your 8th retrieval was your most successful, I think speaks volumes for the work that she started doing when she started reading. She read Yes, You Can Get Pregnant. She started implementing it. She joined my e-course. She was getting support, She was using me in the weekly Q&As, using her community. Then we coached one-on-one. I tweaked her diet even more, tweaked her supplements even more. And we really started working just on the mindset stuff more than ever. She just did 2 coaching sessions with me. And that's back when I used to do two packs. I don't do that anymore, but my coaches do. And I have an amazing team of coaches. And I meet with them every single week and we go over cases. It's just, that's how I've had to grow, is had to hire other people because I can't clone myself. But they're amazing. And they've all been working with me for quite some time and they're brilliant in their own right. But then that retrieval that she did after, basically doing the program 6 months. Really, she was in the program 8 months, but I think really committed to everything for 6 months. And overall was a very healthy person coming to me to begin with, right? But adjusted meds, adjusted clinics, then gets 5 embryos to send off. All 5 come back normal. And the first transfer works. Whereas she had done 6 transfers before meeting. Not a single one took. Not a single transfer took. So we did a biopsy and we did an ERA. And we really worked on making that uterus and her child's palace much more hospitable. And here she is now at the age of 41 with an 8-month-old. When you say 8 IVF, does that mean 8 egg retrievals and embryo transfers? So it's a good question because I don't have it exactly cleared out in the notes. But she definitely did at least 6 retrievals before she met me. I think 6 was the February one, and then 7 retrieval. Let me just see. No. No, 8. She did 8 retrievals, so she didn't transfer every time. I think she did 8 retrievals and 6 transfers, and the 6th transfer is the one that took. So, but 8 retrievals, yes. Between the ages of 37 and then 40, and her age 40 retrieval was her best retrieval, which again goes against what we're told. And I really want to push that on you guys, that you can get better with age. Your numbers will decline, sure, maybe your reserve declines. Like fertility does go down as we get older. I'm not saying that, but quality doesn't have to. And health and quality are interdependent. So to remember that, right? Just because reserve maybe goes down, you're not out of the game. And here's a woman that, you would think 8 retrievals. What is she, insane? She keeps doing the same thing. But she didn't. She completely changed her diet. She completely changed her lifestyle. She got the right support. She was working on her mental, emotional health, right? She went to therapy. She was doing meditation. She's doing acupuncture. She's doing tapping. She's getting my support. She's getting the community support and the community I've created. And her 8th retrieval is her most successful one. I think that's fascinating. So there you have it. And yeah, there's another story of hope for the books for you guys. Okay, I will see you guys later. And thank you so much, Instagram, for your patience with that hiccup with the phone. And yeah, you guys have a beautiful day. I'll see you next week, okay?